Hello, welcome to episode 1 of the Jarred Up podcast. David and I spoke to Rob Blackham, who's a professional music photographer from Guildford. He's worked with loads of people from Slash, Annabelle Allen, Rival Sons and Michael Kiwanuka. We got to start right back at where he began, up to what he's been doing for the past year with the pandemic and everything, and exactly how he's been working through that. So enjoy it. Make sure you check out his website below and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also join the lab on Facebook.
Looking fresh.
Yeah, just that lockdown chic, innit? You know what I mean?
Looks good.
Like it. Who's that on the picture behind you?
It's my dad.
Is that actually?
Wicked.
Cool.
No, it's Billy Gibbons.
Oh.
Did your dad have a much less cool job?
My dad was pretty famous, actually, in the world of minerals engineering. He helped create a new type of tarmac, which was silent. You will have heard it. You're going down the road in your splitter, and it's really loud, and it's only a little bit of black tarmac.
It's Rob Blackham's father.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to think about from now on.
That's it.
No, I'm driving anywhere.
What have you been up to?
Taking photos.
Yeah.
Taking photos, playing guitar, growing a beard. Learning how to use Logic
Nice.
Pro X.
How are you finding that?
It's expensive, but yeah, I can use it now. It's good.
Nice. I always found with things like that, it's always you can only watch so many tutorials. You just got to kind of
Dive in,
use it, make mistakes, kind of maybe delete an entire project, and then then you learn from that. That's the best way to I've found with those sort of things.
But they never teach you the stuff. There's tutorials. It's like, hey, get started, and it's like, well, actually, the things you need to know straight away are like things like how to not fill your MacBook up full of shit.
Yeah.
What have you been managing to do photography-wise? Have you been out with people? Have you done Zoom shoots? I've seen people have done them.
I'll be really honest with you about Zoom shoots. There's a guy who does. I said something on another podcast about Zoom shoots, and 2 people blocked me straight away.
Really? Immediately lost popularity.
It was an unpopular view, but
I think it's definitely it serves to a type of photography, because I've seen people do FaceTime ones.
Yeah,
and it can have a certain look to it, an aesthetic, but it's very particular.
It's not my bag. It's basically what I said, but I used a couple of F words as well. I mean, I like to kind of I like to be in at least the same room as the person I'm taking a photograph.
I think it's the personal connection, isn't it? It's having someone there. And how do you even navigate a Zoom one? Because you can't move anything. You've got to instruct them how to move it.
You're polishing a turd, really.
Yeah.
Is this recording? Is it part of the podcast? Because
it can be cut out if you like.
Anything.
I can't talk about this. Honestly, I get in so much trouble because essentially for me, it's not. It's like photography and art, right?
Yeah.
And I like to think that at least 50% of the time I'm over here.
Yeah.
And a lot of photography is mostly over there. And I think. I know a mate of mine, Andrew Curtis. He's like this old guy. He's retired. He used to be the head of art in some kind of public school. He does Zoom portraits, and he paints them with oil paints. And for me, that's cool,
Yeah.
But if I was to just kind of screen grab you right now, it will be. I mean, in 20 years' time, it might be an important documentary photograph. But
You're right. Primarily, it's just a screenshot of 2 people sitting there.
But it's weird. But I mean, David, you're a kind of world-renowned global photographer now.
I mean, I've been very limited to just taking pictures of myself. And these guys, whenever they
and street photography and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've kind of deviated from the street photography. I don't know why. I think it's as much as I love Sheffield, and I mean, travel is. I think street photography. You want to keep it fresh and obviously go to new places.
Yeah.
And I kind of just stopped because I can't drive, so I couldn't travel to other cities just willy-nilly. Otherwise, I've got to get public transport. I am fascinated by street photography, and that is how I got into photography primarily, but I'm way more into taking portraits now of people. But one thing I wanted to ask you, Rob, because obviously as long as we've known you, and obviously like following you on Instagram, like you're predominantly black and white. Was that a creative choice on your part way back when, or was that something you've come to want to do, or is it like because of a client has wanted that?
And it's suited
Because you've got color stuff, which is also as good and also lovely.
Yeah, there's do you want the really long wanky answer, or do you want just the simple answer?
Whichever answer you want to give.
Well, I'd like the longer one, but up to you.
Okay, the simple one, as I like it more. I think it just like aesthetically pleases me more, and I think for me the slightly mid-length, slightly wanky answer would be it's like. I think here we go. I went to art college. I wanted to be in a band, so I went to art college because that's what all my favourite bands did. And so I did get in a band and learn photography. Anyway, I learned this thing at art college. There's this really famous painting of a pipe by Magritte, I think. And above the pipe, it says, "This is not a pipe." Okay. And essentially, I think I got that wrong, but it's essentially that. Okay, so a pipe, it's a picture of a pipe, and then at the top it says, "This is not a pipe." So essentially what it's saying is, this is not a pipe, this is a picture of a pipe. And there is an argument to say that a colour photograph is basically, it's a capture of a moment, in a recreation of a moment in time, whereas a black and white photograph it's an impression. It's already an impression. You've taken it one stage from reality already. If we were standing on the street and you thought, oh, that's two really, you got two old-fashioned VW Beetles, and one's red and one's blue, and you take a picture of that, what you'll have, the colour version, you'll get a red Beetle and a blue Beetle on the street. But if you did it in black and white, you just have two cars.
Could be any colour. I know you don't give everything away when it's in black and white, and you can kind of make you make your own picture and your own colour to it, really.
Exactly. But I think one of the kind of this is super wanky. Sorry, please edit it out. But there's like there's something about black and white photography is like you can, apart from what the people are wearing in the photographs, there's no clue as to when that photograph was taken. Whereas an old colour photograph has got an old feel to it. I like the way it unifies everything.
Yeah. Like you could take a photo in black and white today, and it could look like it was taken like 50 years ago.
I like the way you've explained it as being an impression of a moment instead of just purely capturing it.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, but also it's kind of here we go. I like the dynamic contrast which black and white forces you into. So it's a bit like, I don't know, it's like the difference between an electric guitar not going through an amp and then suddenly put it through an amp, and there's something inherently flawed about a valve amp which kind of colours colours is exactly the wrong thing to say.
But it does.
It degrades the image in a nice and an aesthetically pleasing way. But coming back to the simple answer, I just prefer it.
That fair enough. A quick one for you: film or digital, and for what reason?
That depends what you're doing, isn't it? I mean, it depends how your bank balance is. I mean, I did.
I was going to say, if finance was no restriction.
Well, yeah, but it depends on the job, doesn't it? I mean, I mean, I did. I mean, and I have no preference. I shoot both, and sometimes I've always got a film camera in my bag, and I always take a couple of. I've got I think what's in my bag at the moment is like a little Olympus.
We just carry that everywhere.
Nice.
Just goes everywhere. Film has a look for sure, and I think it's really cool, and that's great. But there is a limitation to that. So if I'm shooting an advertising campaign or the thing is, Dave, you both know, like, a negative of film is it's 36 millimeters across diagonally. So if you want to do, a campaign for a band, there's all sorts of high res scanning you've got to get into. I think film, if you're going to shoot film, you've got to have a dark room, and you've got the stuff, the truly epic shit that happens with film photography is in the darkroom, in the printing of it.
Yeah.
When you can dodge and burn, and you can increase the contrast afterwards, which is essentially what Lightroom does.
Yeah.
For digital. So I don't know. The answer to that is it depends. I shot. There's a band called St. Agnes, and I pretty much every time I shoot them, I'll shoot a roll of film, maybe 2 rolls of film, but also shoot digital.
I remember seeing the picture you did. I think was it you're on the beach and then you got like the cardboard. What's the cactus? Yeah. Cacti.
Cardboard cacti.
Yeah, that was down in Kent, Dungeness, and you know, and yeah, it's a simple idea, isn't it? Just, you know, they wanted a desert, we didn't have a desert, I don't think. In so yeah, let's make some cacti and do it on the beach. But yeah, that was shot. I shot that on Lomography UK sent me some films, and
wicked.
I shot I think a couple of rolls of this thing called Lomochrome turquoise, which they don't make anymore. I wish I'd kept a couple of those. Yeah, it looks okay. Film, it's got a look and it's got a place.
Yeah.
But, I mean, to be honest, if you get it right and the composition's good, you can just take an epic shot on your iPhone.
I think with the way the cameras are evolving, I think it's not going to be long until you're going to be able to take seriously good photos with your iPhone.
Yeah, but the only problem with that I find is like I mean, I'm not a photographer, but I'll take like a nice picture of some trees or something, and then I'll end up with like 15. You know, like loads of them, and then I'll end up forgetting about them maybe, or deleting them, and then you just kind of end up deleting these nice pictures that...
I think that's the one thing about film that is always, it's like you've got
it
36 there, and you can't forget about them. There's not going to be a picture that you forget, because you got to get them like the negatives back. You got to get them scanned, and so you're forced to then see these images. Whereas, like you say, with a phone or like with a digital camera with a massive SD card, you can take these images and then potentially just forget about them. It depends on, like, if it's for a job, you're not going to. But yeah, if you're like just an avid photographer, I think that's why I love point and shoot cameras, like little film ones.
Yeah.
Or like even disposable ones, like, because I'll see you often with just out and about disposable quick snapshot.
They're good, man. They have a look to them. They look cool.
Disposable, yeah, they're great.
I mean, I don't know if they're any good, but they look good.
They're not very good for the environment, because like they're these little plastic things you use once and then chuck them in landfill.
True.
You know?
Yeah.
But I've got a question for you two. Yeah. Okay.
Go on,
YouTube rock stars. Yeah. Photography. Yeah. Is what if you take a picture on your Fuji, or you take a picture on your iPhone? Okay. Is that a photograph or is that a file?
See, I know. Yeah. It's a photograph, because you've still pointed it at the moment, and you've still waited for the right time and the right, you know. It is obviously just a little blip on your phone at the end of the day, but
I think, Rob, it goes back to what you were saying, whether art form or just purely like photography. I think it would depend, but I mean, in the actual literal sense, it's a file.
It is, yeah, of course.
I'm still in that way inclined of thinking about it as an art form, so I'd always be photo.
Yeah, it's weird though, because I mean, I started doing a thing about 4 years ago, and I'm surrounded by hard drives literally everywhere I look.
Yeah.
But you know, there's literally, I don't know, a terabyte of photographs.
So many of them.
Lacey, I had to get on there now, Rob. I bought my first Lacey last year.
Yeah.
It's filling up already.
So what I did 4 years ago, I decided that I would literally every month I just kind of like go through and kind of print my favorite kind of like 50 photographs.
Oh, wicked!
And then suddenly, and to me, then is suddenly their photographs. Photographs are physical objects. They have mass. And you can look at it. You can hold it up to the light. You can put it down on a table. You can put it in a frame if you know.
Yeah, and they don't get lost in the ether of Instagram.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the worst thing for me is when someone goes, I get an email saying, Rob, we really like that. We remember a photo you took about 6 years ago. Can you and I'll be going like, well, where is it? Where was it? Where did you take it? I'm looking through hard drives, and you know, it just photography, once you become a professional photographer, like half your time is file management, and that's kind of so dull. It's like, I mean, I used to have a recording studio years ago, and I produced a band called Reuben and a band called
wicked.
Super Temple Claws, and it was all done on tape. So, you know, and the tape would be, you'd have 30 minutes on your tape.
Sure.
So if you wanted to do like 3 or 4 songs, and you went for the first song, you had to decide whether you were going to keep that take
or scrap it,
or record over it.
Yeah.
So it's all destructive. But with digital photography, one of the things I think is negative about that is that you never have to make your mind up at all. And then and all you're doing is, I know photographers, I'm going to get blocked again. Okay. Some live photographers, I mean, they'll turn up at a show and they'll stay at the front and they'll take thousands of photos, thousands of frames, and then they'll post 50 on Facebook. And you know, is that photography?
No. And I know exactly the kind of people you mean, like just that will take photos throughout the whole show and post all of them. Yeah. And for you as a singer, that is for you as well, they're kind of in your way as well. And I just kind of think they're kind of, it's monkeys and typewriters, but also they create a barrier between the you know, your audience, your fans are paid, you know, then a lot of them aren't going to be rich. Sure.
And so if they pay 8 quid, 10 quid to come and see a show, they don't want to see the back of some.
But half of the audience have their phones out anyway nowadays, you know.
True, but then I think I agree with Robert. It's like when a photographer does that, it's like quantity over the quality of it.
Yeah.
They're just taking loads of pictures in the hope that when they scan through them all, which a lot of them are just going to be discarded. Like maybe if they take 100 pictures, they're going to use 1 or 2. It's then like, is that then trying to capture a moment, or is that just fluking it and trying not to miss a moment?
No, it's a weird one. I think that it's interesting with mobile phones. I mean, when I was doing what you were doing, you know, if people wanted to take a photograph of you, they'd bring a camera and we'd have a film in it. And, you know, so there's hardly anything. There's hardly any evidence that I actually did anything like that, you know. Whereas with you guys, especially as you kind of get more kind of, you know, well-known and stuff, you know, I love phone photography for that reason. It's not, I don't think it's art, but
documentation.
Social history. You know,
exactly.
It's like, you know, I don't know. That's what it blurs the boundaries. I think phones up at a gig. I think a mad sweaty punk gig. I think it's punk as fuck. I think it's all right.
I mean, I don't think I'll ever really have a set, you know, opinion on it. But if people want to capture it, then film away. I do it. I'm guilty of it.
Yeah, but it's just the amount of time, isn't it? It's like the whole. It's when I remember really going on a rant about it, like back in diploma. I remember seeing on someone literally filmed at least half this person's set, and it was a headline show, so it's like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
On their Instagram stories, it was literally like 45 minutes worth on their story of just them holding the phone up. It's like, surely they're then just watching it through that screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, it's a weird one because I think it's a really good tool for documentation, especially for like how, because I mean, you look at old pictures and it's like, these are people with cameras, which again alludes to it being an art form, but now anyone can do it. So you got to juggle, it's got to get the balance, I guess.
Most of my work every year is with kind of touring bands. I do loads of classic rock people. It's not necessarily my favorite music, but there's budget and I get to kind of hang out and do things. There's a couple of bands I really like in that genre. But yeah, it's so basically this year, obviously, you know, Aerosmith stayed at home, everyone stayed at home. So I was literally 2020, I was looking forward to all these amazing things, and I was rubbing my hands together going, here we go.
Yeah.
Because after doing Slash last year, you know, emails, people have been quite friendly and want to get me involved in things. So it was a bit of a shock, but actually I did some nice things this year. You know, I did, there's a band called Alabama 3 who did this soundtrack to Sopranos, and they're coming back this year with a new album, and I did all the albums, the portraits and press shots for that campaign.
Wicked.
Cool.
I managed to sneak that in just before this last lockdown, and it was, we were driving through Brixton in this 1966 blue Oldsmobile convertible.
Awesome.
with a Chihuahua, of course.
Where were you? Were you squeezed in the back or in the front? Or?
Well, at one stage I was in. It's got this incredibly massive boot.
Okay.
So there was a couple of the shots. I'm actually in the boot, and they're they're closing the lid on me like I'm a bottle.
Wicked.
Right.
But that was cool, and and there's a couple of other things closer to home. There's I think it's made me value what I do a little bit more instead of it being a job. So yeah, a couple of really cool things.
I was going to ask you, Rob, because you've worked, like you said, you've worked with like Slash and some proper like staples of like the classic rock, the genre, and you like Lizzie. Was it Lizzie Hale from Hellstorm? Like her as well. Obviously, like you did George Ezra. But you've done Us, like you're doing Crash Face, Annabelle. Yeah. Like what have you found any like main differences between shooting someone like Slash, who's literally considered a god in rock, and then like
sort of an up and coming band?
An up and coming band. Like, is there any differences in those sorts of shoots or anything that's like stood out to you?
It's just more admin, basically. I mean,
love that. Just comes down to emails.
But do you find like they will know what they want more, or like they'll know the finished product that they want?
I'm quite bossy, can I say that on the podcast?
Of course you can.
Yeah.
No, I think it's just know. I like to shoot. I'd like to keep the shoots pretty quick, and especially if you're doing kind of like, the more A-list the people are, the less time they've got. To mess about. So you have to go in and you say, it's like with the Slash thing, it was all worked. All the artistic side of things, and even down to exactly how he was lit, how he stood.
Really,
everything was down. I had it on it was on I've got this little pad.
I was going to ask you about the pad, the Rob Blackham pad. I remember that. You showed me that. I've seen it so many times. You whack it out and you draw.
For like dimensions and
it's got the drawings in it. I love it.
Cool. That's a good idea.
That is, I think I'm on to pad 8 or 9 now, but it's
pad 9. Yeah,
but you have to. I think with the more kind of A-list the person, the quicker you got to be, and the more decisive you got to be. So you got to you're going to stand here. You're going to do this. We're going to take 10 shots like that. Then you're going to do another thing, and then we're going to do another thing, and then you can go. And then everyone's fine. Because the worst thing in the world is if you've got someone who's, looking at their watch and wondering, you've got to say, well, we're going to do this, this, and this, and then and we're all good. Yeah. And then they have confidence in your ability,
They want to book you again, something like that.
Hey, But the Slash thing was all right, and then he said, his minder, he went, and then his minder came and said, oh yeah, he really likes you, he never likes photographers, and so I was invited. Yes. So then he invited me to download the next day. Which was good. So I drove up, and it was like the wettest, most miserable download in the entire world. And so that was a great experience. But but the thing is, because I'm a kind of failed rock star. So I think that informs my process. I mean, the most fun I ever had, I think, was when I was doing what you were doing in the 90s, and smashing guitars up and jumping in the crowd and seeing young people basically, lose their shit. And but I think that's why I like shooting.
Now you're capturing.
That's why I like shooting kind of bands like Crash Face, bands like just Annabelle Allen. My goodness, she's taken her own route through all of this. I mean, she's had some options to go with some kind of bigger people, but she's decided to play a longer game. Yeah, and it's really working out for her.
We love Annabelle, man. She's
wicked.
Yeah,
I mean, we did after the first lockdown. I think one of the first shoots I did was actually, she's just down the road. So she came to G-Town, and we just did a roll of Lomo, 2 rolls of Lomo and a bit of digital. And basically, we just wandered around, and she smoked some fags, and She had a
captured it,
cider.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's it. But I mean, I was fascinated by. I was looking at her, and I saw some pictures of Johnny Lydon, probably just after Sex Pistols, kind of at the beginning of Public Image Limited.
Yeah,
and I'm fascinated by this guy. And I one of the bad things about 2020 is that I was going to be, there was a possibility I'd be taking his photograph, but that all kind of maybe we
fell
see.
down.
But
that's
a long story. But obviously, that's not going to happen for a little while. But there was this photograph of Johnny Rotten, and he's wearing this beret and this kind of weird black military coat with all safety pins.
Yeah.
And I just thought, you know what, Annabelle, she's a punk. So I sent her this picture, and so she rocked up with her take,
her version,
wicked
on that. And
awesome.
I think that's her like current profile pic and whatever at the moment. But
do you do that much going with briefs and stuff, or do you often do it on the spot? Things like that.
I think if you do it on the spot, I think it's really good. I think I was talking to someone yesterday on another podcast, and I think it's really important that as long as you do all the preparation and you've got a starting point, then you can leave that. That's a jumping off point. So at the very least, you know where you're starting. You know, that makes sense.
Yeah. Often I find like you never finish where you think you would. Do you know what I mean? Like you start with one plan and it ends up to be something completely different.
Because I think what we found is like we'll have like one idea, and then we'll start with that idea, and then we'll just what if we try this, what we try that, try that,
and you just say yes, and it just develops into something else that you didn't expect. But it is. Yeah,
but it must be like this. But it's the same with songwriting. Surely you kind of like maybe Carpo's got some chords and you got a lyric, and it's like suddenly you're playing it. It's like it's all right, and then suddenly you put on Lou Reed. And you go, whoa, hang on, we can play this faster.
Yeah, do it like this.
And that has happened more times than like, oh, that's all right. I'll play a bit faster.
Yeah, exactly.
That was actually the start. That was the birth of Black Waters, if I'm honest.
We started Blackham. I put it in black and white. Yeah, better.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I'm fascinated by what you guys do.
Equally, man. Equally.
And all songwriters and performers. It's a weird thing to do. It's a weird thing to want to do. I mean,
I guess we're all in the same kind of bubble at the end of the day.
But it's like, if you think about it, I mean, it's like evolution, and you've got kind of the first humans didn't have the internet. I know that's factual. But so,
are you sure?
Well, maybe they're aliens. But like, I mean, basically, you got food, procreation, shelter. And then after that, maybe you got cave paintings and hitting a skull with a stick, and telling stories. But then at some point, it went all a bit twisty-turny, and you've got Jeff Bezos earning, trillions of dollars over a lockdown. We're living in an age where creativity is not valued, and it's the whole planet's full of Bond villains. Musk, Bezos,
that's the best analogy ever.
Yeah,
just full of Bond villains. When you think about it, it really is. That how can someone be that rich? It's like it's amoral.
Is it amoral?
Immoral. Immoral. Amoral. Immoral.
Or moral.
Unmoral.
I think I think the reason we do this is because we just love to do it, and it gives us something to focus on, and
But what you're doing is insane. What you're doing is insane. It really is.
Yeah, true.
You're creating. I mean, what I love about music is I can put like 4 humans in a room with some musical instruments, and it will make this noise. And then I can put 4 different humans in the same room, and it will make a completely different noise.
True,
and I think that's the beauty of what you do. It's like when you go in the studio and you've got like half an idea, and then suddenly a day later you're all sitting in the car listening to a monitor mix of this amazing jam. You're creating stuff, but you're not necessarily being rewarded straight away for it.
I think you can lend that immediately to any other art form like photography.
Yeah, it literally goes hand in hand.
Put a subject in, a photographer, you'll get a certain type of picture, you'll get a certain type of outfit, you'll get a certain look. Put a different 2 people in. It's the same
It'll
thing.
never. I think photography more. Well, actually, photography more so. I'll go with it because lighting, everything is like one moment, a blip. Do you know what I mean? Whereas
Yeah.
you can go over and chop and change.
Well, yeah,
songs
one photo will never be the same as another one.
exactly.
I guess. But you could say that, like Rob said, you can do that with music as well. Like no one
Take or whatever.
take can be the exactly same as the other one, or it many different things. But as far as I'm concerned, Rob, you are a rock star of the photography world.
Well, okay, all right. Well, I take that. Thank you, fellows. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that I still do make music, but no one will ever hear it.
Is that something that we can persuade otherwise in due course, or is that
Definitely.
definite?
Well, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'm kind of like probably same age as your dad, So, mind you, saying that though, you look at the lineups on most major festivals, and you've got like, guys in their 50s.
Dad rock, yeah. And most
it's amazing, though, isn't it? Like people have a go at, oh, you're too old to do this, and then
fuck that.
Then they'll buy tickets to go and see the Foo Fighters at Wembley.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, I love the Foo Fighters. I love the Foo Fighters' first 2 albums. I do.
I was brought up on Foo Fighters, but I fully well know that. I saw them 2 years ago for Christmas. My parents took the family to go see them at the London Stadium, and I did cry.
Yeah.
But I fully.
What if I stay?
Well, not in that one. I think it was My Hero that I cried.
Wow.
But I fully know where you're gonna go with that statement. It's kind of like everyone moan about dad rock, but they're still the biggest bands in the world.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I remember going to Reading '95, and you had Björk, Smashing Pumpkins, Soundgarden. Literally everyone was there, and I was like your age, and it's just amazing. And now, you look at the festivals now, and it's the same bands. Why are the Smashing Pumpkins doing it now?
Yeah,
like 30 years later. What?
I think nostalgia is a massive. I love nostalgia, and it fascinates me. I think it's such a powerful. Is it an emotion?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, then, right. Musical question for you two geniuses. Okay.
Genii.
McCartney 3. Have you heard McCartney 3?
I haven't yet. No.
Neither have I. I've seen mixed reviews.
I wasn't into a single that he did a while ago.
Oh my god.
Why? Do you like it?
I don't know. I heard it and I was like, this is a Beatle. This is like one of the. I mean, I'm not. It's all right. But I'd rather hear your album.
But it's Paul McCartney. You expect good songs.
Is it the novelty of him being a Beatle, or is it just a bit average?
I don't know, but maybe he's done everything.
Yes, I think that's the issue.
But then you start thinking about the career the Beatles had. It's like 7 years.
Yeah.
I mean, how long have you guys been together?
Nearly 7 years. This year it will be 7 years.
Will it?
I think so.
No, 6. But 6?
Something like that. 7 years, yeah. But that was their whole career. Yeah.
Yeah. From start to finish, from the Reaper Barn to kind of.
That's insane, isn't it?
It is insane.
The roof. Yeah. But I don't know, and I think is just being the biggest band in the world, 40 years ago, 50 years, 60 years ago, is that enough? You've still got to be relevant, haven't you?
Yeah.
I don't want to have a go at Paul McCartney, because if I got an email tomorrow saying, do you want to come and take his photo? It would be absolute yes, but I'd have to dress him as like one of the characters in the Frog chorus.
Of course.
My favourite. But I don't know. It's a weird one. But going back to it, I mean, there's no reason why there can't be more younger bands and more female.
Yeah.
More diversity on the big stages. I mean, I think Youngblood doing all right.
Yeah.
It's very particular taste, but I do really I like what he kind of represents.
Yeah.
His music's very particular, but I agree with the female. It's mad when you see like a Reading or Leeds festival.
Yeah, and they scribble out all the.
And they take out all the male,
artists.
and it's literally like 4 female dotted about. And the classic commenters is like, well, they've got to be good. I was like, there are amazing female-fronted bands or female bands or artists.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You can't say that, can you? It's just a band, isn't it?
Exactly. And it is.
But yeah, and that, like you said, because like it was Anastasia from Bang Bang Romeo. She said, "Stop calling us a female-fronted band. We're just a band. The fact that I have a vagina has nothing to do with it."
It's true. Yeah. If a band's good, a band's fucking good.
Exactly.
Like that's literally. Yeah.
But it's weird. It was like, I remember there was like back in the days. I think it was 1992. There's a band called L7, and they went on a TV show. I think it was The Word. It was just like a really old TV show in the 90s, and the lead singer took out a tampon from inside her and chucked it at the audience.
Whoa,
rock and roll!
And that was like, that was a pretty punk thing to do.
Sure,
it's kind of
right. There hasn't been much like that since, has there? Don't know.
Well, I'm not advocating that. I don't know.
The closest a funny anecdote is when we supported American band called Radkey at Dingwalls in Camden, and the bassist got a nosebleed like 2 songs in, and he didn't have a tissue or anything. Someone gave him a tampon.
Oh, was it?
And he stuck a tampon up his nose and played the rest of the set with a tampon.
Wow. Have you still got Terry Crews on your amp box?
Yep.
Nice.
I've got Tom Cruise in the bathroom as well because Bailey bought me a Tom Cruise cardboard cutout last year for my birthday or Christmas.
Is it full size?
It is life.
Yeah, it is life size. It is life size. Yeah.
What's next for you fellas? You must have been busy.
Yeah, man. We've been
busy.
We've been recording. I mean, we can,
Should we say?
Just tell Rob. Yeah. We're doing the album.
We're recording it ourselves. We did drums at Fat White Family's old studio,
Warren.
Yeah.
Which is now called Warren Studios. We recorded drums there in 2 days, like a day and a half, 2 days, because there was a weird problem that went on in the first half of the day, but then James just hammered them out, just one after another, and now we spent last lockdown doing the drums and bass. Now we're doing this one, guitar, vocal.
It's just about keeping
guitar solos. Any guitar solos?
There is one guitar solo, but it's a very Libertines messy one. It's not like a.
He's still writing it. That's why he's got 12-minute. So,
I've got a
Santana sort of vibe.
Yeah, I've got Santana's 10-minute solo coming up.
Ooh. We put a secret album. We put a secret track on our album.
What's the name, Rob? No, I can't remember.
No, it was a band. It was a band called Redwood, and we were kind of probably famous for about 15 minutes.
Cool.
Redwood.
And we did. My favourite gig we ever did was we supported American band called Everclear.
Oh, wicked.
Yeah, it was just kind of, we did a few festivals. I mean, I remember the first kind of major festival we did. We were kind of on the same bill as David Bowie, and he was like top of the poster, top of the t-shirt, and we were like not even on the t-shirt, but
sure.
We were there.
You're on the poster though.
Well, yeah, probably, but it's like I remember we went to. This is really rubbish. We'd done our little set, and it was back in the day where it wasn't. You know how backstage now is basically just full of middle management and their friends.
Yeah.
But back in that day, it was kind of literally the bands would be backstage. Anyway, so I remember me and the drummer, after our gig, we were so happy. We just got caned and we went to this backstage bar, Carlsberg or something.
Yeah.
And it was me and the drummer, Chris, who you might know. He lives in G-Town. Anyway.
Might know his face.
He's a lecturer now. Anyway, yeah, we were at the bar, really caned. It's his round, 2 pints of Carlsberg in those little waxy festival cups. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Can't really. Anyway, he's at the bar. He's just to the right of me. I'm here. And I noticed that David Bowie was right next to him. He came up to the bar and he was stood at the bar with his Union Jack jacket on. You know,
had to go on.
I'm afraid of Americans. That jacket right was there, and I said to Chris, "Don't look now. Don't look now."
Yeah. But
immediately look.
So he's got these 2 waxy pints of Carlsberg, and he turns around like this, comes face to face with David Bowie, and he let go of these 2 pints, and they landed on his boots.
No
way. All up his trousers, and he goes. Because I'm so sorry, Mr. Bowie. Yeah, he goes, that's all right. Like that. And that's as close to fame as I ever got. But,
Was that the 15 minutes?
That was 5 of them. But yeah.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
That's really.
But that was good. I mean, I think we should bring back those kind of the days of the proper. I think the industry's changed a lot, and in some ways it's harder, unless you've got a bunch of money behind you or you get lucky. It's hard.
I completely agree.
But you guys are doing really well. I mean, I made a Spotify playlist of like your greatest hits. And it's called Blackwater's Greatest Hits, and there's like 12 tracks on that. I listen to it's an album.
That's one, Rob.
Oh, cheers.
I'm not sure if Fuck Yeah is going to be on your album, but
probably not.
But it's weird. I remember. I mean, it's like Milky from Wargasm, and I've got so many shots of her like moshing at your gigs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Underneath,
kind
of crazy people just lifting them up. No, but I mean, they're doing really well.
They are doing really well.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to see because we were with Milky when she was playing bass for Barnes Courtney, and we went on tour.
Yeah,
that was a great time. And she said she was leaving Barnes to do her own thing, and I was like, "Oh, cool." And the next thing I know, Wargasm straight out with a single, massive coverage, doing really well. It's cool. There's this. I was saying there's this weird new metal punk revival thing happening.
Yeah.
And it's cool. I like it. I didn't know that's what was needed, but apparently it was, because you got Youngblood doing it, and all the like Bring Me the Horizons new stuff.
Yeah.
Got that element to it. Like they've got a song that sounds like Linkin Park.
Yeah, that track that's Horizon and Youngblood. That is Linkin Park. It's just like maybe. I don't know.
No, I fully agree, and it's that's an interesting question. Do you think there are styles of photography that come full circle that you think are like reinvigorated and brought back? Because I just got a photography book.
Whoa, hang on, that's cheating.
No. I was in Waterstone. I spent literally like 2 hours in Waterstones just looking at books, and it was Helmut. I can't remember his second name. It's upstairs, but it was like it's like a surrealism photographer.
Okay.
And it's just so interesting to see how many people can interpret photography. Just take like one word and then go completely different avenues with it, like completely different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And do you feel like, because obviously like there's portrait photography, fashion photography, they're obviously huge. Like Harry Styles, the photographer that did his Vogue shoot, obviously that's a massive thing.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there'll ever be like a surge of different styles coming back?
Well, a surge of different styles. Yeah, there always is, and that's the great thing. I think it's always. I mean, that whole kind of. I think the thing that's come back most recently in the last couple of years is that kind of bare bubble flash kind of thing. When you see like the block shadow behind, and that's that's everywhere right now.
Yeah.
The whole kind of neon stuff with the blue and the pink.
Yes.
Everyone was doing that about 3 years ago. It's of course you'll have this kind of
recurring.
Yeah, it's like it's cycles. But then I think it's like when I was in a band, I remember our management used to go, "Oh, you need to do a bit more." This band Eels had just come out, and it was like everyone loved Eels and Beck, and it's like, and we played like this kind of, at best, it was like Sonic Youth, and I used to love it, and suddenly it was like we're being advised to do what the crowd was doing, and we kind of did, and I think that was the end of us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think it's good to be aware of what's around you, but you should definitely just follow what you want to do.
Yeah, what you believe in.
If you're lucky, it's like you're a bunch of surfboards and you're all doing your different things, and sometimes if you're lucky, if you're doing it right, you'll catch a wave.
Yeah.
But it's like you should in answer to your question, yes, but I don't really want to be one of those photographers who does whatever's in particular time. I mean, one of my favorite styles of photography is that kind of, you've seen me do it with you, it's like that kind of crazy flash and blur stuff where you just open the shutter up for like half a second and then the flash goes off and you get all these light trails and stuff.
Whenever I see that, I think of you.
No, but I just nicked it off Steve Gullick, you know, and he's still working. You know, I mean, and he's fantastic. But I mean, it's a simple technique, but it's a way of kind of it's one of the only ways of kind of capturing the energy of I mean, I wouldn't shoot, you know, I don't know I would never do Ronan Keating that way.
It's funny you say that. But Dave and I love a bit of Ronan Keating.
We love a bit of him.
Yeah, but no, I think it's, you know, I try. For me, it's all about, if I'm working with artist A, it's trying to represent artist A.
Yeah.
Not trying to put my style onto artist A.
Yeah, perfect.
You know,
you
know what I mean? So if I'm working for Blackwater with Blackwaters, you know, I'm thinking the reference points will be completely different. So if I'm working with, you know, a singer-songwriter or Paul McCartney, but
soon to be.
But yeah, it's true. But it's like, you keep doing what you're doing, and stay together. I think band-wise, I think the best thing you can do is just don't split up.
Yeah, it's a good start.
I said to Max, I feel like we've already released an album, and I think you alluded to it with that playlist.
Yeah.
It feels like we've already released a body of work that's already our first album. We feel like we're on to the second.
Yeah. It's just singles, man. Like, I mean, I get so sick of, say I go onto like a artist Spotify and it's just got a load of singles and I can't listen to an album.
The thing is, but instead of being like the people go, oh, you want to be a bit more like this, a bit more like that, you do this right and you could be the new Strokes or whatever, but you just got to be the best version of you.
Literally, yeah.
100%.
But in all seriousness, I think you should get, just definitely, Dave, just do the album cover and stuff and just keep it all in-house.
We're keeping everything in-house as much as you can.
Do some crazy art on it and just, you know, keep it so homemade. But anyway, it was cool. Well, I'm gonna now go and open my first beer of the day.
Nice sound.
Nice, man.
Sound.
It's San Miguel.
Wicked.
Nice.
Take it easy, man.
Thanks for having us. Take it easy, man.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.